Okay, Algebra 1 fans, our topic for today is Notes, Section 2-2, Chapter 2, Section 2, Solve One-Step Equations. Our objectives after this lesson: students should be able to solve equations by using addition and subtraction, solve equations by using multiplication and division. Before we begin, let me give you your joke of the day. What did the ocean say to the shore? Nothing. It just waved. All right, where we're going to start here is asking the question, what does it mean to be a solution? And this is actually really important because when we're solving equations, we have to know what it means to be an answer, what it means to be a solution. So in the first two problems here, the directions say, are the following solutions to the equations? State yes or no. Well, in number one, the question is x equals -2 a solution to this equation? What we'll do is we'll take this x value and we will substitute it wherever we see an x. So it'd be 8 times x, 8 times -2 plus 5. And then over here, I'm going to draw a line down from my equal sign. That's the left side, this is the right side. 3 times x, that's -2, and then minus 5. So let's go ahead and simplify here. 8 times -2 is -16 plus 5, which equals -11. And then on this side, we get -6 minus 5, which equals -11. Now, the value on the left is the same as the value on the right. That's what equals means. That the values on this side of the equation are equal to the values on this side. And if that's true, which it is, then this is a solution. Yes, that is an answer. So what we're checking for is, do we get the same value on the left and the right side of the equation? If we do, the answer is yes. If we don't, the answer is no. Now number two, is x equal to 10? Here's the equation. Now this time there's only one variable, it's on this side. So instead of x, we will substitute this number. So I'm going to rewrite, that's 10 minus 6 over 2. 10 minus 6 is 4. 4 divided by 2 is equal to 2. Now the only value on this side is -2. Are these equivalent to each other? And the answer to that is no. So I'm going to put equals with a slash. That means not equal to. So is this a solution? Not if these values are different. So the answer is no. Excuse me. Okay, so what it means to be a solution to an equation, it's a number that gives the left side and the right side of the equation the same value. We will be done with an equation when we end up with x equals a number. So example, x equals 3, we're done. That's the same thing as 1x equals 3. Now we also might solve the equation where it ends up as the number equals x. That is also finished because your variable is on one side, your numbers are on the other side. So 1x is equal to 4. So a solution is the value that makes both sides of the equation true. Here it was true, -2 is an answer. Here it was false, 10 is not the answer. Now our strategy when we're solving equations is basically we do the inverse. And remember that the word inverse means to undo some kind of expression. And again, a review of some vocabulary here. 2 times x plus 3, the number in front of x, that is called the coefficient. The x, the letter, is what we call the variable. And then the number that's by itself, the number that is separated from x by a plus or a minus, that is called the constant. Our goal when we solve an equation is to isolate the variable What I mean by that is get it by itself. So either x equals a number or a number is equal to x. That's how we know we're done. All right, now I'm gonna kind of give you the strategies and then we'll look at some examples and see how we use them. Step number one is usually to move the constant by adding or subtracting it on both sides of the equation. And then step two is usually to move the coefficient by multiplying or dividing it. And I'll explain this when we get into the examples. And then the last thing we always want to do is check your solution. We want to make sure, we want to know that it's right. So we'll check. And again, as we get into this, I'll show you what I mean by these things. So let's do some examples. Directions, solve each equation. Okay. Number 3, x minus 2 is equal to 7. Now some of these you're going to look at and say, I already know the answer. A number minus 2 will get us 7. You can solve a lot of these in your head. However, you need to know how to show the steps because the equations will get more complicated and you won't be able to do it in your head. So even if it's very simple, write down the steps that you're using. Okay, so right now, remember our goal is to get the variable by itself. Well, there's a minus 2 that's on the same side with the x. I want to move the minus 2 to the other side. Now this is x subtract 2. How do we undo subtraction? Addition. So I'm going to write plus 2 underneath. But here's the thing. Then equal sign is like a balance. And so if I add something to one side of the balance, I have to add the same thing to the other side to keep it balanced. So if I go plus 2 here, I have to add plus 2 on the right side. So whatever we do to one side of an equation, we must do the same thing to the other side to keep the balance. Now I'm going to put a big underline. Anytime I add or subtract, I'll put an underline after that, underneath that. So we didn't do anything with x, so I'll copy that. But negative 2 plus 2, wait a minute, that's 0. Now I'm going to write the plus 0 here, but normally I don't. Because x plus 0, wait a minute, anything plus 0 is the same thing back. So we do the inverse of addition here. And then this is the identity of addition. And what this is, so again, you don't need the plus 0, that's just x, equals 7 plus 2 is 9. Now that's the answer because this is 1x, or x equals a number. But the last thing I want to do is I want to check. Is this the answer? Well, to check it, I go back to the equation. Now I would take, this is the left side, I'll put an L over here. X minus 2, so that's 9 minus 2, which gives us 7. What's the value of the right side? Well, they tell us that's 7. If the values are the same, this is the answer because now this is balanced. Okay, so x is equal to 9, and that's it. Let's take number 4. I'm going to draw my line from the equals, so now I have a left and I have a right. The variable is on the right side, so this is where I'm going to focus. This is where I start. Now I'm not going to move the variable, I want to move the constant. Now this is plus 6. How do we undo addition? Well, the inverse of adding is subtracting. But because this is like a balance, whatever I do on the right side, I have to do to the other side, the left. So minus 6 minus 6. I have to do the same thing. Now on the left side, 1 minus 6 is negative 5. 6 minus 6 is 0. So I can cancel, I can cross that out if I want. So what I end up with, I get x. Now I could put plus 0 there, but x plus 0 is just x. And look at what we have. We have some number, and then on the other side, by itself, we have isolated the variable x. Here's the answer. Did we do it correctly? Well, the left value is 1. The right value is x plus 6. So that would be negative 5 plus 6, which also adds up to 1. If the values are the same, if the left and the right side have the same value, it's balanced. That means that this is my solution. Check. And I'll check this one too. All right, and then number 5. All right, where's the x? X is on the left side, so we're going to start from here. Now we have x subtract 3. We want to move that constant to the other side. To undo subtraction, we will add, but whatever I do to the left side, I must do the exact same thing to the right side. So plus 3 plus 3. So what's left over here is we still have x. Negative 3 plus 3 is 0. So that's gone. And you'll notice that I line these up underneath. I did plus 3 under this constant, under this constant. I'm not putting it under the variable because I can't combine that. So I'll put it underneath its like term. So x equals negative 5 plus 3 is negative 2. X is by itself. The constants are on the other side. I think we're done. So let's check. Now let's see, we'll take the x value. The left side is x minus 3. Well, x is negative 2 minus 3. Now we're subtracting 3, so we're moving to the left. That would be equal to negative 5. The right value is also negative 5. If the values of the left and right side are the same, then that means that our answer is correct. Check. Okay, I'm going to flip it over here. We'll do a couple more examples in this video. We'll do 6, 7, and 8 here. So 6. The variable's on the left side, so we'll start here. Now, one of the things, and you'll see this as the equations get a little bit longer, before you start trying to move things, you always want to simplify the two sides. Now, on the left side, I am subtracting a negative 11. Well, I know that minus a negative is the same thing as a positive. So I'm going to write this as plus plus, and I will rewrite this expression as x plus 11 equals negative 3. Now we want to move the constant to the other side. To undo addition, we will do subtraction. And x will come down. That doesn't change. Positive 11 minus 11 is 0. So those are gone. They undo each other. And you need to be careful here. This is a negative 3, subtract 11, which is moving left. So on the number line, that's negative 14. X equals negative 14. Now, is that correct? We'll go back to the original problem, the left side. Now, this was x, and it was minus negative 11. So if I use the calculator here, negative 14 minus negative 11, and I'm typing this exactly how it was written in the beginning, and the value on the left side is negative 3. The value on the right side is also negative 3. Whoops. So is our solution correct? Yes. And number 7, we'll do one more here. Where's the variable? It's on the right side, so we're going to start here. Now it's a C, that's okay, any letter works. We are subtracting 2. How do we undo subtraction? Well, we add. So plus 2, whatever I do to one side, I must do the same to the other. 2 plus 2 is 4. Negative 2 plus 2 is 0. That's why we did that. And that is equal to C. And that's our answer there. I'll check the left side. The value is 2. And the right side was C minus 2, which is 4 minus 2. Hey, that's the same thing. Left side and right side are the same. This is correct. And that is the end of part 1.